Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing today?
Not too bad, Max. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good considering we got a banger weekend ahead of us with some UFC, some NFL playoffs, and of course the National Championship capping off the weekend, Caden. We're going to start with UFC. Let's jump right into it.
Yeah, because, there's only 5 football games this weekend. Instead of doing a football and a UFC pod, we're combining it all into one for you guys here. So
Yes,
one
we
just
are.
Big, like 20, 25-ish, whatever minute episode for you guys instead of like 2 10-minute. We're going to give you all in one here. Yeah, starting off with the UFC 311, where our first fight of the main card is Kevin Holland versus Renier de Ridder, where it's basically a pick 'em in the fight.
It is a pick, Caden, but I think this is a match that does favor Big Mouth. He's the experienced fighter. He's been in the octagon so much, especially so recently. I just think the fact that he's hungry to get a win. He's been up and down, obviously. Holland has since that great 2021 year. But I think he finds a way to get a finish and does it within, the time frame. And, yeah, that's what I got.
I like all you said there. I think, Kevin Holland, I believe, will come out victorious, like you're saying, in this fight. I don't know if he'll win by finish, per se, but it'd be awesome to see. If we can get this first pay-per-view just full of finishes, that would be an ideal start to 2025, but I will be riding with Kevin Holland as well.
Definitely.
Next fight, though, should be really good. 2 ranked fighters in the lightweight division. Beneil Dariush versus Money Moicano, where Moicano is a -162 favorite.
Juanado Moicano has made a name for himself, Caden. He's been a UFC veteran for a long time. Over the last year, of course, with the Fighting Nerds and his promotion, everything, growing in popularity and growing in skill level. He's been on a tear. And with the downslope of Beneil Dariush, his, downward
He's
trend,
old.
He's getting old up in age, Caden. I just don't know if he's got the will and the hunger that Juanado has. That being said, I got Money Moicano to come in to get the victory.
Give me Money Moicano all day. For one, I love his – this ain't even what that has to do with the fights. I just love his post-fight pressers too much that I just can't pick against him.
He's awesome.
And like you're saying, Beneil's on a little bit of that decline on his fighting career now. He's getting up there in age and hasn't been looking the sharpest in these recent fights. So you look at Moicano, and it seems like all his most recent fights, he's looking really good. He's finding ways to win these fights. I just think it's going to happen again on Saturday.
I'm so looking forward to it, kid.
Now, though, these last 3 fights is banger, banger, and banger.
100%.
First off, Yuri Prochazka and Jamal Hill, where Jamal Hill -135 favorite.
Caden, I'm surprised Jamal Hill is -135. I know Yuri Prochazka is coming off of an ugly loss to Alex Pereira, which honestly wasn't that long ago either.
No.
Right? A fairly recent loss.
Jamal Hill's awesome.
Yeah, and Jamal Hill also is coming off of, so both of these guys are waking up from knockouts. Yuri obviously has had to step in the octagon twice with Mr. Alex Pereira. I just think Yuri is going to be recharged, refueled, and I don't know if Jamal Hill's head's in the right space, kid. I still think he's dwelling on that loss too much. I still think he's too focused on Jamal Hill, and I think Yuri Prochazka is going to give him a rude awakening, so I like the plus money on good old Yuri.
Yeah, I mean, Jamal Hill, he looked really good against Pereira until obviously the downfall at the end. I mean, we all knew that was coming, but he survived a lot longer than not just us, but a lot of people thought he was going to last inside the octagon with him. With that being said, I love me some Yuri Prochazka. Watching him get in the octagon is such a pleasure.
Yes, it is.
And to see him with a plus money attached to his name, I think is beautiful.
Have to take it.
I think he's going to find a way to get this finish on Jamal Hill. I don't think there's really a shot this fight goes the distance.
I'm going to be honest, Caden. Both of these guys are sluggers. I would circle this as my guarantee not go into the end.
I mean, this co-main, though, I also don't think is going to go to the end. Well, who knows?
Who knows?
This co-main, though, Murad, the champion. Give him some respect. The champion of the bantamweight division, Murad Dvalishvili, against Umar Nurmagomedov, where Umar is a -285 favorite.
No respect for
No
the current
respect.
champion, Murad the Machine Dvalishvili, who, let's not, underestimate one of the top 6 bantamweights of all time in Murad Dvalishvili already. Dominating performance against Sugar Sean. He proved he could be on the feet. He could take him down. His cardio, his grappling is just otherworldly. I know Merab has made the improvements. Regardless of this being such a big line, Caden, I think Merab actually does get the victory and defeats Umar.
Yeah, this should be a great fight. I think maybe some of the casuals won't be the biggest fans of this fight
Maybe not.
because we might see a lot of grappling. But these are two of the highest skill grapplers we're going to see, especially on this card. Where, yeah, you have Umar Nurmagomedov, obviously cousin of Khabib. Khabib's in his corner, so obviously you know
100%.
he's got the wrestling. And Rob, you saw what he's done in every single fight in the UFC. He goes in there, he will take you to the ground, and he will find a way to finish you.
He will, Caden. And these styles complement each other so well, like you said, for this matchup. I'm looking forward to these grappling exchanges, and it's going to be who's going to have the better positions, who's going to be able to take advantage in the scrambles. For which you guys don't know, scrambles is where no one has control of each other. They both just got to have the will and, you know, the quick reaction time to find a position, hook a leg, or something. It's going to be epic.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to pick against Nurmagomedov.
It is, kid.
Because they don't
It's
lose.
so hard.
They don't lose.
Coach Khabib in the
With Coach Khabib, exactly. These Dagestani fighters just don't decide to lose when they get in the octagon, especially in the UFC. But Merab's so good.
He is, kid.
We saw what he's done to basically every other bantamweight in this division. It's just
Against Olympic wrestler
yeah.
Henry Cejudo.
he ragdolled him.
Ragdolled him.
And I know Merab's come out and said, like, you know, he's kind of a little injured or whatever. I just think put some respect on Merab's name. He's going to come in, he's going to beat Umar and stay the bantamweight champion of the world.
Most definitely.
Our main event, though, also with Khabib in the corner. Another title bout in the lightweight division where champion Islam Makhachev is facing Arman Sarukian, where Islam's a minus 325 favorite.
Caden, minus 325 is ridiculous, but you know who else is ridiculous?
Islam.
Islam Makhachev. He's been on a tear in this lightweight division. Obviously, you know, look at the resume. He's gone through Alexander Volkanovski twice. He's gone through anyone you've thrown at him. People have been dodging him on his come up to this title reign. But one person who didn't dodge him is Arman Sarukian. He's the one who's got the most amount of minutes with Islam outside of Volkanovski.
Yep.
He's experienced. He feels that he's comfortable in getting back to those grappling exchanges where he did take down Islam in the past. And that being said, I still don't think it's going to be enough to counteract Islam's dominance.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Volk, I'm so sad he took that fight on short notice. That was the end of Volk as we know it.
It was.
Seems like, but Islam's insane. We've seen that he can do it on the feet, on the ground. Yeah, Arman is one of his, probably a lot of people call it like his toughest challenge so far.
Correct.
In the UFC. And this could be another really tough challenge for him. I just don't think he's going to lose this fight. He's just such a complete fighter.
He is.
And he's just, especially just grappling too. He's just insane at that. That it's just, I think it's going to be hard for Sarukian to be able to find a way to beat Islam. He's got to either try to catch him and something on the ground or on the feet. I just don't think Islam will let it happen.
Definitely.
And like we said, Khabib's also in his corner as well. So when you have a top 3 fighter of all time in your corner, that helps just as well. Give
Makes
me
it
Islam to keep the title as well.
Definitely, Caden. With that being said, top to bottom to kick off the year, this is a banger card. We didn't even talk about the prelims, but there are a few notable, exciting prelim fights as well. But now, Caden, NFL playoffs.
NFL playoffs, yeah. 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday. It's going to be beautiful. Right. The night game on Saturday, the towards the end of it, it's going to coincide with the start of the main card. It's just going to be beautiful sports watching.
It is.
To kick off, the divisional round, Houston Texans at Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs 8.5-point favorite.
Caden, at this kickoff time, the Chiefs are 0-2 this season. Let's put that out there. All right.
Okay.
2 losses will come at this kickoff time. That being said, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's the Chiefs. Did you give our line already?
8.5.
8.5. That's actually a lot closer than I thought it would be. But that being said, I like CJ Stroud. I like D'Amico Ryans. I think they're going to be playing passionately. They're going to be playing hungry. They're going to get the cover.
Yeah, before I go into my take on this, I do want to read out some stats. So road teams in the divisional round as underdogs in the plus 3.5 to plus 9.5 range have an against the spread record of 60.5%.
There we go. That's what we're taking.
And home teams scoring less than 27 points have a against the spread record of 16.7% in the divisional round. And Kansas City's regular season scoring average is only 22.6.
Very low.
So if you look at the trend, obviously, I don't think the Chiefs lose this game. I don't think really the Chiefs are going to lose this game. As much as you want the Chiefs to lose this game, I don't think the Chiefs lose this game. But when you look at those trends and you see how just poor the Chiefs have been at covering these big spreads this year, we've seen it constantly throughout the season when they've been these giant spreads. I mean, they almost lost to the Panthers when they were like a 13-point favorite. You know, these other games where they're like 8.5 point favorites. They just don't find a way to cover. I just think it's too high for how bad spread-wise we've seen the Chiefs this year. While they're still one of these great defensive teams, their offense hasn't been what it usually is. And the Texans, their offense isn't that good either. But we saw the way their defense played against the Chargers last week. I think they can try to do that. We know Mahomes likes throwing to the other team.
Yes, he does.
Get a pick or two here. You're going to be able to cover that spread, I think, pretty easily.
I completely agree with you there, Caden.
Our night game on Saturday, though, is the Washington Commanders at the Detroit Lions, where the Lions are an 8.5-point favorite as well.
Another 8.5-point line, Caden, and I'm going to have to ride with the underdog again. Give me the rook, Jaden Daniels, to come in and put some pressure on the Lions. All right, obviously, I think the Lions are going to win this game. They're just a better team, point blank, period. I do think that Jaden Daniels' Commanders are going to throw everything they have in the playbook. They're going to go after the Detroit Lions defense that has been shaky at times and, of course, beat up. We all know that. And I just think that they're going to have enough firepower to cover that spread.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking trash about the Lions defense just, a couple weeks ago, and they let Scam Darnold and the Vikings just shut them down. But this is different. This is at least I hope, it looks different. Jaden Daniels doesn't look like a fraud compared to Sam
I don't think
Darnold.
he's a fraud.
I don't either, because we saw he performed well last week too. Just, the Lions offense is going to be unstoppable.
Correct.
The Commanders have a bad run defense. Jameer is going to have a good game. It's as simple as that. Jameer is going to have a good game. Going to find the end zone at least once. It's just it's a given.
That's a given.
It's just going to be, how can the Commanders keep up with this offense? Is Jaden Daniels going to be able to find a McLaurin, a Zach Ertz, or something like that enough times to keep them in this game throughout?
Hey, he might find himself running into the end zone.
That could also happen. He is the best running back. So this is a lot. Lions defense, like you said, extremely injured. They are a little shaky too. It's just the injuries is what's really hurting them, because they have amazing defensive players, just happen to all be on the injured reserve right now. Depending on, you saw, what was that, against the Vikings? You saw the way Alex Anzalone was able to lock up TJ Hawkinson.
Great play.
And when you have someone like Zach Ertz, who was one of Jaden Daniels' favorite targets, I mean, rookie QBs love their tight ends.
Yes, they do.
And that could really kind of maybe shut down their offense a little bit. But just like this Chiefs game, it just seems like too big of a number. Jaden Daniels and company are going to find a way to keep this within that 8 point. They're going to keep it within the one score.
Definitely.
It just, unless we see their Lions defense just completely lock down the Commanders.
Or a couple turnovers.
Yeah, a couple turnovers off Jaden, which could happen.
I mean, he's a rookie.
He's a rookie, but we could also then see him come back and throw 3 touchdowns after a pick, which we saw in that Eagles game, a month or so ago.
Yes, we did.
So I just think, 8.5 just seems too high for how competitive of a game this should be.
I agree.
Getting over to our Sunday matchups here now, where starting off is the LA Rams at Philadelphia Eagles, where the Eagles are a 6-point favorite.
Caden, this is a surprising matchup. Obviously, I did not think that the Rams were going to win last week, all things considered, but they pulled it off, and you got to credit Sean McVay. He is the mastermind. He is the genius. He's experienced. Him and Stafford know what each other want to do, and, of course, you have Kyren Williams. That helps.
Yeah. If they just, gave him the ball on Monday when, he was running the ball so well the entire game, maybe you should just given him the ball, and then my parlay could have hit.
Correct. But the running back on the other side, Caden, is the best running back in football. Saquon Barkley. He has been on a tear. He's a guaranteed 100-yard rush. You could, take it to the bank and maybe make 50 cents on your bet. That's just how crazy he's been this year. I think behind him, behind their running game, the Eagles are too big up front. They're too powerful. And even though the Rams have some good rookie defenders, I think they're in for a world of pain come Sunday, Caden. Give me the Eagles to cover the 6-point spread.
Yeah, this should be, great running back matchup. Saquon and Kyren. You have, obviously, like you said, the best running back in the league this season, Saquon Barkley. And Kyren, who's just doing what he does once again this year. Another great season. We saw it last week when they actually gave him the football. He ran the ball really well against, obviously, it was not a great run defense in the Vikings. And while the Eagles are definitely better in the defensive spots, just I don't know. Stafford is we've seen throughout his career, he is good in the playoffs.
He is.
He's able to find it, and someone like Puka's just an amazing receiver.
Yes, he is.
It's just that simple. He's so good. But then you look obviously at the Eagles. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith is a nasty wide receiver combo.
Yes, it is.
This should be, I think, an amazing game.
Hopefully.
Hopefully we get more than one good game in the NFL
All
this week.
4 of these games should be good, theoretically, on paper.
Well, the spreads don't say so. But in our eyes, these 4 games should be pretty good. I just think, the Rams, I don't think I can really pick against them not to cover this one. After what I saw on Monday against the Vikings, the way their defense was able to perform, obviously, I mean, the Vikings offense have been great all season until those last 2 weeks. We've seen the Eagles as long as they can rely on Saquon, they're fine. I still think Saquon will have a big game. Like you said, you can pencil him for 100-plus rushing 100%. Yards, and it'll be fine. I know it came to bite me last week. You just got to limit Jalen Hurts. he played just a good football game last week, kept the ball in his hands. He's secure while Jordan Love decided to throw 3 picks. He did what he had to do. I just think the Rams are going to be able to find a way to cause a little disruption in there and make it so, whether it be, I don't know, like a turnover, get a 4th down stop as the Eagles are driving to try to flip the momentum and keep it within that 6.
All right, we'll have to see.
Our final NFL game of the week, though, in my eyes, should probably be the best game.
It is going to be. There's a reason why I got scheduled for the Sunday night game.
The Sunday night game at 4:30 p.m.
Sunday afternoon, sorry.
Which I just don't. Why not put it at prime time?
That's prime time. It's championship weekend.
I guess. Yeah, it's the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills, where the Ravens are a 1.5-point favorite.
Caden, 1.5 points just goes to the MVP. That's all I could say about that. That line.
Hey, the line opened as a 1-point Bills favorite.
And then they realized they're playing at the MVP, so that got switched up. But Caden, this is the game of the week. This is all there is to talk about. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, the 2 MVP front runners, 2 juggernaut offenses coming off 2 ass kickings of the opponents the week before. Steelers and Broncos on the receiving end of a running game beatdown. Yep. It was ugly. I expect Josh Allen to go toe-to-toe with Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson on the feet and through the air. But, Caden, it's not going to be enough for that Derrick Henry freight train coming through on the I formation. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, you forgot to mention James Cook.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
James Cook has been running the ball really well this year.
Yes, he has.
He was tied with Derrick Henry for the league lead in rushing touchdowns.
The reason why I didn't mention James Cook is because Josh Allen single-handedly whooped the Broncos last week. Didn't even need James Cook.
James Cook just had like 120 rushing yards.
And they didn't even, that's what I'm saying. It's like that.
I mean,
wasn't even the biggest part of
But he was also what kind of showed that the Broncos didn't know how to tackle.
You're correct. But that game was everyone ran.
That is true. Game. Yeah, but you look at this, obviously, like you said, the 2 MVP front runners, Lamar Jackson against Josh Allen, Derrick Henry against James Cook. And then you got some receivers there.
Yes, Zay Flowers is a Pro Bowl.
Zay Flowers is he's a dog. I like Zay Flowers, and he's good. He should be back. Who knows exactly how healthy he will be, but he will be there. And then, I mean, Mark Andrews actually having a really good season,
of course.
And then Dawson Knox, they paid him, and he hasn't done much in the regular season. They drafted Dalton Kincaid. He's still just an insane playoff performer. He shows up in these big games in the playoffs.
Josh Allen trusts him.
Josh Allen trusts him, and he's proven that he should.
Correct.
Dawson Knox makes some crazy catches, especially in the postseason. But when you look at these defenses, you've seen this Bills defense be a little iffy throughout the season. You've seen them get torched for some big plays. We saw earlier this year when the Ravens and Bills played.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, for the first touchdown of the game, 87-yard touchdown run. I don't know if I'll see another 87-yard touchdown. I could see like a 40-yard touchdown run out of Derrick Henry. I just think, especially because with the way the Ravens defense is now playing, they started the year off, really poor in the secondary. If they were still playing like that, I think Josh Allen could torch them. But it's been about 5-6 weeks now, they've become a top 3 defense in the NFL. They've been one of these better secondaries as well, where your players are really starting to remember who they are. Like, Marlon Humphrey's still playing well.
Yes, he is.
Nate Wiggins, he's the question mark there in that secondary, because you've seen teams target him one-on-one, like with George Pickens last week, and the offense has found success against him. You need Nate Wiggins to be able to lock down, whether it be, I don't know exactly, maybe like a Keon Coleman or
Amari Cooper.
Your boy Mac Hollins, maybe.
No.
But yeah, I just think the Ravens are the better football team. Lamar is the MVP for a reason. And I know he hasn't had great playoff success. But now they have Derrick Henry, so they should know you run the football and it'll help. Don't have 5 carries in a game, and you're going to be able to come out victorious in this. I'm relying on Lamar and Derrick Henry.
I agree.
Getting to the national championship, though.
Boo.
Boo.
Not the national championship we wanted.
No, Texas, Boise State would have been great. But no, we have the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Superdome, where Ohio State is an 8.5-point favorite.
Okay, this 8.5-point line is ridiculous, just considering, Notre Dame season, they need to get some respect, all right? I know I've dogged on them. I've given them their heck, but they've really earned it. They've turned things around with Marcus Freeman as their head coach. He's got them believing. He's got them motivated, and they feel like they've been doubted. They feel like they've been disrespected by the media, and that's just the chip that they have built for themselves on their shoulder. But this Ohio State team and Ryan Day lost to Michigan, and I'm going to keep saying it because that Michigan loss changed their season for the better.
Exactly.
They dropped in seeding. They had to go on the road, and that underdog mentality has propelled them all the way into the national championship, and I don't see a way where they don't come out and finish this game victorious. I just think the 8.5 points too big, and I do think Notre Dame will be able to cover that, kid. I see, Ohio State having to score a last-second touchdown, or whether that be in overtime or, kick a field goal to take this victory. So that's why I do think that Notre Dame will cover, but give me Ohio State to win.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching, the new Protect Our Parks the other day. There's Shane Gillis on there. Obviously, he's a big Notre Dame fan.
Correct.
And Jamie, Ohio State guy, they're talking about a bet. Shane seemed a little scared about Notre Dame.
I would be scared if I was in Ohio State.
But he was even kind of scared with the points. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, this Ohio State team is nasty. Obviously, Will Howard's a better quarterback than Riley Leonard.
Correct.
Obviously, Ohio State has better receivers.
And running backs.
That's cool. As a pair, yes. As a position group, yes. They are better on every single offensive position except maybe the O-line.
Yeah. That could be a wash.
And the tight end, I'll give to Mitch Evans for Notre Dame because he's actually a dog. He's good. Ohio State's offense is insane. And Riley Leonard scares me. That first half against Penn State, he did not look good. Abdul Carter was getting in there and feasting. And now you have someone like Tyreek Evans or, I can't remember his name, number 40. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's been feasting all playoffs, getting multiple sack games. He got Quinn twice last week. I think Tyreek Evans also had him 1 or 2 times.
Yep.
They have a great pass rush. Notre Dame's defense, though, is where they're going to be able to keep it themselves in this game. We've harped on it all playoffs and towards the end of the season. If they get a lead, their defense is elite. Even if they're playing from behind, like we saw throughout that Penn State game, their defense is able to come up big when they need and get these stops.
Yes, it is.
8.5, just kind of like the Lions game we were talking about, or the Chiefs game.
The other game.
It seems too high of a
big spreads
for how big of a game and for what we've seen Notre Dame do throughout the season. After that loss to Northern Illinois, which is still crazy to think about that they lost to Northern Illinois, who then lost 3 straight games after that in MAC play. So that's something. But the way they performed after that, you've seen them throughout these playoffs. They beat Georgia. They beat Penn State. These teams who, people were saying they could win or look out for this and that. Obviously we saw what Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton did last week. That scares me because you look at Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, who are just 1A, 1B between them and Penn State and running back duos. So that's going to be hard for them to stop. What you need to try to do is what Texas did. You have to find a way to take out Jeremiah Smith because you're fine.
That's the only hope.
It's a very tall test. They had one of the top corners in the league in the entire college football on him. Texas did. So now you're looking at you have to find a way to take out one of these top receivers. Whether Carnell Tate, you don't need to worry about taking him out. He's a great receiver, but he's their number 3. You don't worry about taking him out. Find a way to either Jeremiah Smith or Emeka Egbuka. they can't both have good games if you want to be in this game.
For sure.
Take out either Emeka Egbuka or him, and you just, that's the only way they'll have a chance. But I think the way cornball Marcus Freeman's been able to motivate his team, he's going to find a way. This Notre Dame team has just been resilient and tough, especially throughout these entire playoffs. They'll come in and get this 8.5-point cover.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Caden. I just think this Ohio State run offense is going to be the difference. I like, their ground game. They're going to make it happen. They're going to get the victory. Let's make that clear because I know people are going to see the graphic
Austin Schultz
and jump to conclusions that I think Notre Dame's going to win. I got the Buckeyes all the way.
I also think the Buckeyes will probably win, but I wouldn't be too surprised if somehow Notre Dame pulled it out.
Caden, before we go, what should these people do?
Yes, you guys should like this video, subscribe to the channel for more content, turn on the post notifications so you never miss any of the content. And then, share this with a friend, family, stranger, neighbor, anything like that. And check out our website, theuntouchaballs.wordpress.com.
Most definitely. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.